Good day to you. My name is Abir Mozumdar, and I am the founder and CEO of the Idea Factory. Today, we are here for a very interesting topic, and I have with me Mr. Kaushik Chatterjee.
Hi.
Uh,
Hi, this is Kaushik here, and I'm a consulting partner to the Idea Factory. And together, I think we have a dream to fulfill.
Today, we'll have a small introduction of the Idea Factory, and then we will discuss a very important topic. The Idea Factory, as the name suggests, is a company about ideas, about innovation, and bringing about a change for a better tomorrow. We are developing the Idea Factory as a strategy training and consulting firm that hopes to bring about innovation in the Indian economy and hopes to play a strong role in the business landscape of tomorrow. Today, we are here to discuss a very important service of ours, which is called the Ideas Lab. The Ideas Lab is being planned, has been in the planning for a few months in the last 2020, when we have been interacting with a lot of business personalities of reputed companies through various discussion forums and panel discussions. And we realized the importance of a proper structured innovation mechanism for organizations. Though they are large organizations, medium and small enterprises, ideas are largely people driven and till now not reached a stage where they are system driven. So perhaps there is a time where innovation ideas and post COVID companies are looking at restarting their businesses in a different way. The ideas and innovation can come as a very strong, tool to improve the performance very quickly and rapidly. Towards that, the Ideas Lab has been planned out to be as a service that we want to offer to corporates, both big and small. I think that being the background, I would like to ask Mr. Kaushik. Mr. Kaushik, what do you think could be the type of companies that would be able to participate in the Ideas Lab session?
Yeah, I mean, I think quite a few large enterprises that I have come across in my professional careers. They have empowered idea incubator teams. So they are pretty empowered teams, and with very nice talent. Mostly working with strategy heads. We have also seen, mid-market enterprises, who are required to innovate fast and furious to time the market, continuously extend the value frontier. I think they are the ones who may benefit most with the Idea Labs, our concept of the Idea Labs, rather than the larger enterprises who may actually rely on their teams that they have inside. For the mid markets, the Idea Labs also gives them something like a value of on-demand structured interventions, facilitated by experienced professionals, and with an unbiased willingness to support the cause. Even startups, I guess, who spend a lot of time in thinking about the product may benefit from ideas, that are cross-pollinated from the perspectives of, sales, people, process to create, a lot of value proposition, right at when they are in the early stage of prototyping. So, Abir, I'll be interested to know, what is the proposed framework that, I think we put together out here. Maybe I think folks would like to have a view about that.
Right. See, there are multiple ways and approaches how an ideas lab can be designed. But as of now, the proposed structure is to have a short 1 hour section with a customer and discuss in detail about and use it as a forum for suggesting new and better ideas for businesses that are already in the system. Of course, the companies have their own set of ideas, but with this idea lab, we are trying to bring in some new ideas from our side and present it to the company for consideration. For that, we are, relying on a framework, which is a very, very simple four-stage framework, and that is called the TINA sailing framework. And let me see if I can share the screen and run you through a short version of that framework. Right. As you can see, just the first two slides of here where we are discussing the Ideas Lab, and this slide actually gives you a nutshell what the Idea Factory is all about. I'm sure we will talk about it more in greater detail in the future. This is a short mission that we are talking of, wherein we are providing, we are building a platform where innovative ideas can bring about changes in organizations. And slowly we come over to the topic of the framework that we have been talking about the ideation lab of the Ideas Lab. And the framework, as we said, is a four-stage invention cycle proposed by Tina Seelig, and it's the stages are imagination, creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship. While we talk about all that, we will just run you through, like, for example, imagination is the stage wherein we have wide ideas, and we can need not restrict ourselves to the situation of the company, but we can talk of the industry in general and bring about a lot of brainstorming ideas in front of the company, which is kind of the first stage. And then we customize it towards the requirements of the company. So when we come to the creativity stage, we actually come over, we identify one or two challenges that the company is facing, and see how we can apply these ideas to bring about a solution to the challenges that we are facing. Because challenge solving a problem is the sure short way of improving the performance of the company. So when we gradually zero it down to a challenge, a solution, and then the framework that we talk of, then we come over to the stage of innovation, wherein we are actually now trying to generate unique solutions, which is again a brainstorming, and we believe it could be for this 1 hour session, of course, while it be a dialogue, but definitely we have we would like to play a larger role in the whole process, because they have come for our ideas. The company comes to us for our ideas. So here we might give some suggestions to the company, and from the suggestions, while it goes to the project mode, and slowly, if these ideas succeed in the pilot stage, we can always look at it on the entrepreneurship situation, where you can scale up those ideas into commercialization. So from imagination to entrepreneurship is slightly longer journey. It cannot be, it's not a short thing, but here we will do a simulated situation of the program. So here we will do a simulated thing of the program, and we'll see how many ideas can actually be handed over or be taken for consideration to the customer. I think this being in a nutshell. So if the ground row gives you the entire summary of the whole process, wherein you identify by the brainstorming, you give ideas and identify all sorts of problems. By the next process of ideation, you deep dive into one or two problems. By the process of innovation, we bring into identification of solutions, and then we scale up. So these are the four stages, and that brings about an innovation, platform into the organization's working. I think I hand over this now to Mr. Kaushik. Maybe you can just explain with an example as to this framework.
Sure, Abel, let me give it a shot. So, I remember talking to a gifting company, whose primary model of the business was e-commerce. And, so they have been close to about 4 years in the business with this model. And so when we sort of did a quick application of this framework, so on the imagination, and when we sat, in terms of identifying all the problems in the Idea Labs, certain things that came up where, there were quite a lot of 10% of odd customer refunds happening, which was plaguing them. There was deep discounting. The only way they felt that business could be grown is, to get into the red ocean and discount deep. And there were pretty poor customer reviews. And so, literally price being the only differentiation. And however, there is no values that, they could create from a spread of the services. So that was the imagination phase. We identified maybe 3 odd problems, and then we got into a deeper dive of one of the problems, namely poor customer reviews. And what emerged, from a creative session was like, maybe the UI was very tough to interact, and as a user, I felt there was bad user experience. We felt that, some of the prices were pretty outpriced, so I mean, keeping the price high and then doing a deep discounting possibly was the norm, but then we could figure that high price was one of the reasons that they had this leeway of offering a tendency to offer deep discounting. There was a low perception of value. So in the absence of articulated values, the reasons why customers will be buying, there was this really no sense of differentiation or scarcity or rarity that they could build. There was no advisory. So, it's like, you're just in a shop like a Kirana store and I mean, there was nothing to sort of advise and guide that, oh, okay, depending on the occasion, you should be doing this and not that. And there was minimal pre-post engagement. So we could see with the deeper dive, with the creativity session, there were like 5, 6 dimensions of why poor customer use came. And then we moved into the innovation or the identifying solutions using the creativity. And we could see that that the flow of the design actually can be a lot better. There's need for content marketing to keep customers informed, inspiring them to act, provide advices. There could be a provision of a little bit of a virtual assistant to greet and meet the customer and really take them through in the form of AI bots. And that instead of a deep discounting, maybe a money back promise of which is like a promise of performance, could be something that as a solution can be worked out. And then we took this idea and we applied the entrepreneurship part of the framework to scale it up. So there was personalized UI, there was engagement, there was this minimizing risk of moving forward. And in 3 odd months, it looks like they are attributing, and all of this have cost a significant amount, in excess of 10% of improvement in terms of their revenues is what they're projecting. And all that started in an idea lab in a brief session, has now been put into traction, put into action, and scaled up. So hopefully, this stays. So that's like kind of an example that comes to my mind. And Abir, you have been also interacting with quite a few organizations, so maybe one from your end will really help.
Yes, while I have been interacting, and there is an interesting example that I just had some time back, and I was studying a company called Leverage Edu, because I have an interest in the educational sector, and I selected a company which is on an edtech side, and that was because and that is also a newbie, which means that's a startup which is around 3 years in the system, but has grown very rapidly. I think they were started in 2017, and within a short while they have a revenue figure of some 10 crores, and actually it solves a very long-term void where students from India, when they wanted to go abroad, they did not have a guiding force. Because they wanted to go to the US, they wanted to go to Europe for their studies, for education, both for the undergraduate level and the postgraduate level. They had to scout around universities to find out which university, and there was no structured guidance model. So this gap has been filled up by EdTech, and EdTech by Leverage Edu, and Leverage Edu is a kind of a guiding force which helps candidates get the get connected to the lot of institutes in that particular sector, depending, of course, on their GMAT scores and TOEFL scores and all together. But there's a lot more to it that goes into it for admissions. They also have tied up with a lot of mentors from various universities and colleges, from Ivy League universities and colleges, and that gives them a first-hand, discussion with the candidates as to what are the expectations of these colleges. So they are doing a wonderful job in that, and actually trying to be a conduit of student movements from India to abroad to the rest of the world. Having said that, I was having a discussion with one of their senior colleagues, and we were discussing some aspects on the ideas part and whatever challenges they were. So initially on the imagination side, we had a lot of, various ideas that came into the discussion, and some of them are highlighted already here, that the businesses, though they are moving fast, but they feel they can go faster. So that way it's a slow business growth, because they feel that assuming this to be ramped up situation, because I'm not talking of COVID. This is pre-COVID scenario, because I think during the COVID period people are rethinking, and now again they will start. But yeah, that was kind of a they believe they can grow faster. There were also a case of lot of unsatisfied students, which means that they did not get the colleges that they wanted, because everybody who wants to go abroad wants to go into an Ivy League college, and many of them did not have the eligibility to go it, or somewhere in the middle of the program they realized that they would not get it. They were also had an upfront fee structure which was quite reasonably high for the middle class Indian. And obviously, when the fees were high, they expected a good return, and somewhere there was a discontentment that was happening over there. And here we drill down and we try to bring out some perspectives into the whole process, assuming that significant percent of unsatisfied students being the main point that we concentrated on. And we realized that some of them did not want to join the tier 2 or the tier 3 universities that they were getting. They always wanted to join the tier 1, but they were not eligible. So there were this issue, and that they had a non-refundable fees on that. And or some of them did not even get mentors, because every college was not connected to mentors. Put together, we brought out some solutions to them in the process of proper communication to the students, saying that the success is not guaranteed. Even if you pay fees, success is not guaranteed. That doesn't mean just because you've enrolled for Leverage Edu doesn't give you the automatic pass to an Ivy League college. So that was one proper communication somehow that was missing, and that we brought to the process. And then we also brought a special student counseling program where the students were step by step, they would realize at some point that where they were going into. So it was not that at the last moment they get a shock that I'm not getting into these colleges, but somewhere in the middle of the process, they would realize that they are either in this process, either in the tier 1 or tier 2 or tier 3 universities that they are going to. Also, they ensured that there needs to be more mentors in the Leverage Edu network, because that was becoming a big dissatisfaction, because there were not too many mentors, and some colleges did not have mentors. So they increased the number of mentors in the whole process, and also have a success dependent fee, which means that only if the student gets into tier 1, the fees will be higher. So there would be a first level of fee, and then depending upon the success to get to tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, the fees will be accordingly. I think that scale, tiring of the price also helped reduce a lot of dissatisfaction among the students. And in the whole process, this was the scale up, though we have not reached a situation where it will be a scale up situation. I think we are still in talks with them. But having said that, if we go to the scale up model, there will be a scientific evaluation process of the candidates at starting or at the middle, so that they gradually get to see where they are moving into. A clear onboarding pitch with entire communications, and saying that we can help you get the colleges, and if you want you can go for a 1 year, and if you want to drop out, the fees include a second attempt also. I think there was this issue that some of them do not get a good college in the first attempt, and for the second attempt, do they have to pay another set of fees, or do they and the current scheme of things, again they will have to re-enroll. But we are suggesting that you put it in such a way that at least the person gets a second attempt in the whole process. Then you have a strong mentoring process, and slowly the entire so higher success ratio. This entire process will ensure that though the fees are given, it will ensure a higher success ratio of the students. Also, there was one point that we realized, that just after enrollment, first 6 months, there has to be a hand holding, because they are going to a different country, different setup. There will be a lot of questions. So there will be an hand holding process of the student 6 months into the program, so that they settle down. And that was not there in the program till then. So this hand holding process hopefully will again make a smoother transition from India to abroad, and that would hopefully make better satisfied students in the whole process. So this is in a nutshell that what we are trying to do through the imagination, creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship process. So this being an example, my question to Kaushik is, Kaushik, how do you think that, this, to what extent this can solve companies' problems?
You mean to say, what kind of association can begin? Yeah, I think as a next step, hopefully we are able to demonstrate some power of creating actionable possibilities, through this conversation, and some inspiration to act for mid-sized organizations, so that they can really benefit organizing sessions for their organization and team. Sessions could be typically half a days, preferably on the same day, and uh, and should involve the functional stakeholders who are empowered to have a very candid, truthful, and authentic, sharing of insights and conversations. And at the end of it, they can expect to generate new ideas, validate some of the existing ones, separate the assumptions from the truths, form some idea hypothesis of what looks to be probably correct, and then possibly prioritize shortlisted ideas into an actionable format. Yeah, so typical half day sessions, maybe one or two, and I think we should be able to take them through the entire invention cycle. So Abid, what do you feel could be a measurable indicator of such a program?
Yeah, that being because programs have to be measurable, because once we are working with the corporates, we believe that we will be able to measure the output from the programs that we are doing with them. And the first set, there will be two measures. The short term, which is, means that if we do the ideas lab for maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, or whatever, if we do a half a day program, the layout or the output of it will definitely be maybe 5 good ideas, which are in a position to be taken to the next level of discussion. Okay, so 5 good ideas based on the discussion so far, which the company can take up for the next level of discussion. But in terms of the long term, definitely it's once we take these, we go out of this idea lab short program, we go to the, then it goes for a discussion, then it goes for a pilot project with the company. And by the success of the pilot project will definitely be a measurable of the ideas lab, because those things that start with the idea lab will definitely, know the success level by the, success of the pilot project before scale up. I mean, I think before we scale up, if the some of the out of the 5 ideas that go out of the idea lab, if 2 ideas, reach the success in the pilot project, that would be a great measurable for the success of the ideas lab. And, company can scale up from there. I think that is one aspect that we are looking at. But yeah, these things, and they have to be financially measured. Okay, because one is the when we are talking of the pilot project, of course, what is the revenue that the company is getting out of this new idea? That would be a great measurable out of that. Having said that, Kaushik, my next question to it is that, to what extent this program will be affordable by the customers?
Yeah, I think affordability is a relative term. All that I can say, I think every organization will bring in a unique need. They have a specific reason to move through the invention cycle, and all that we can say, we have been extremely flexible and in our approach, and we have been customizing the offering, specifically. So no two solutions, no two conversations, no two pre-work, no two post-share will be the same. And so from that perspective, we definitely would be value for money. Affordable again has different shades, but we'll definitely be value for money, and we will definitely be able to demonstrate an ROI, which shows the gain of working with us, and also at the same time minimizing the risk. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I do really invite organizations which are mid-size and really grappling to move ahead, have got stuck up on a certain agenda, really need to come up with some change in products, in process, in people, in sales approaches, in models. Uh, it's a very collaborative process, and so the time is an investment of not only ours but also all the lab participants. And however, even if we add all that investments put together, I'm sure we'll be able to demonstrate a very positive and compelling ROI. Yeah.
I think that in a nutshell, what we are offering for the Idea Labs today. And it will start in the new financial year, which is April onwards. And hopefully we will be able to share more anecdotes and more learnings in the future videos, assuming that Idea Lab is becoming a service program from our side in the next financial year. And hopefully we will come up with more and better videos on the Ideas Lab from now on. I think with that, we end this short video of ours, and we hope to interact with corporates of any size in the near future. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks for watching the Idea Lab session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.